Hello and welcome to another happy pod. My name is Nathan. As always, I'm joined by my co-host Lawrence. Hello.
Hello. I have a serious question to ask you.
Okay, well, I don't care about that. Before you ask me that, why don't you tell the people what this show is?
This is where we come to talk about anything pop culture related. Movies, TV shows, games, you name it. We talk about it, but we talk about it positively. At least we try to. Right, can I ask you my serious question?
If you are so inclined to do so.
I am. Right, before we were about to record, you had to dispose of a fly in your room.
Great, okay, let's bring this up.
However, the unusual thing I noticed was that you paused your camera to do so. So my question to you is, are you wearing any trousers?
I am wearing trousers. I just didn't want you to watch me walking around swatting a fly.
I wouldn't have minded.
Well, I would have.
What? Why?
This is just weird and silly, isn't it?
No, I don't think so. You're just swatting a fly. We've all done it.
Well, this is a great use of podcast time. So...
All right, I have a question for you. I think not the trousers thing. You've answered that.
I have indeed.
Your energy is down today. You're all the way down.
I'm sick. I've been sick for the past 3 days.
Nathan's had a wobbly Chinese. Everyone, it's not gone well for him. Would you like to talk about that?
No.
I know that audio listeners can't see your face right now, but I can, and it's just a picture of I'd rather be doing anything else.
I'm here. I'm here to talk about a movie. So let's just talk about a movie. What question do you have to ask me?
Another happy question. Right, well, before the question, Nathan, I have to tell people what the question is. So at the start of the podcast, what I like to do is ask Nathan a hypothetical question. It could be anything related to the movie. Sometimes it's quite related. Sometimes it's a bit of a strain to get there. This one is very related. And what I'll do is I'll ask Nathan the question, and then he has until we finish recording or around the time we wrap up the episode to think of an answer, and then he will give me that answer.
It just popped into my head what your question might be. I kind of hope it's not, but go
on. Is it bad? Are you anticipating a bad question?
It's kind of a bad question.
I think this one's okay. It's very open-ended. You can run anywhere with it.
Okay, maybe not then. Go on then.
Okay, well, we'll see. The question I have for you, Nathan, so we're talking about Top Gun Maverick, and in that movie, the time on target in Top Gun Maverick's central mission is 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Now, in that 2 minutes and 30 seconds, they face immense G-force, they perform high-risk manoeuvres against impossible odds, and they hit a target which is barely 2 meters wide. Which is pretty impressive stuff, as I'm sure you'd agree. But my question to you is, what's the most impressive thing you've done or could do in 2.5 minutes? I said you can run anywhere with this, go anywhere you like. Let's keep it family friendly.
Why? We haven't for the last 80 episodes.
That's true. I was mainly just anticipating you repeating last week's joke of having one off the wrist. I don't want to know about that.
2.5 minutes. What's the most impressive thing I could do?
Yeah. What did you think I was going to ask?
I thought you might have asked what my silly little nickname might have been.
Oh, I don't think that would have been shit. I think that would have been okay. For bonus points, what would it have been?
Ghost, because I wouldn't have one.
So your nickname assigned to you wouldn't exist, but if it did exist, it'd be Ghost because you wouldn't be there, therefore it wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
Mine would be Stud, because I'm that kind of guy. Right, I've been begging you to watch this.
You are. Ever since it came out, for some reason, you have inexplicably been obsessed with this movie. You have worshipped the altar that this movie stood upon, and you have been trying to get me not only to watch it, but also to love it as much as you do for the past however many months it's been.
I think it came out in May.
Maybe. I don't know.
Right, you didn't want to. We heard that last week when we told everyone what this week's episode was going to be. You flat out said that you didn't want to watch it. And in the past, and this is a quote
I came very close to not actually watching it as well.
Why?
I came very close to just kicking my feet up because I'm sick and in a bad mood. I came very close to just saying, no, fuck you, I'm not doing it.
Okay. Before I ask you what your opinion of, opinion of this movie is.
Yeah.
A quote from you. From the
here we go. Fucking go.
No. No, the reason I ask is because I don't just want to. It's boring if I just say, "How was the movie, Nathan?" I'm going to ask you if you agree with this sentiment. So this is a quote from you from the Mission Impossible Fallout, which we did around the time of release of Top Gun, because we were like, "Well, you haven't seen it. We can use hashtag Tom Cruise to pull in a few listeners potentially." So we watched Fallout, and a quote from you is. So it's Top Gun fever. I'm sure there's military sign-ups everywhere. Everyone's joining the Air Force.
Yeah.
Would you agree that this is American propaganda, as you claimed?
So I have a note on that, and I don't necessarily say American propaganda. Military propaganda for the American military and industrial entertainment complex. That's what this kind of is.
Yeah.
But I have a note on that. And my exact note says, I thought this would be flat out military propaganda from start to finish. I was wrong. It is in fact Tom Cruise propaganda from start to finish.
Oh my god. You're not wrong.
No, I'm not wrong. Okay, let me just say, I don't hate it, but I don't like it. Okay.
All right.
I don't like a lot of this movie. Sure, the action sequences are fun, intense and stuff. It is really good and really cool to see the real life flying around fighter jet. All that, pretty good. Tom Cruise has... This is a midlife crisis of a movie, okay?
Oh, come on.
Because Tom Cruise... Everyone knows how heavily involved he is with the projects of his movies.
Yeah.
What he has done here is he has created a fantasy where he can be the greatest man in the world who can do fucking literally the impossible.
Yeah.
Literally the human impossible of fucking surviving 10 Gs like it's no issue. He can do that on his fucking day off, mate. That's no issue for him.
And he cuts the time by a bit just for good measure, just to prove how big his cock is.
It's this movie is from start to finish. It's Tom Cruise does not have a single character flaw. Oh, sorry. His one character flaw is that he kind of cares too much about all his friends and all his students, and he loves them too much, so he kind of gets in their way sometimes. That's his one single character flaw. I'm not done. Shut up.
Okay.
Look, the whole fucking movie is just 2 hours of Tom Cruise. He didn't write this. He's not listed as a writer, and I checked, but there is no part of me that is convinced for a second that Tom Cruise did not have his hands all over this script.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's just, from start to finish, it's just this guy, Maverick, whatever his fucking name is, he is the greatest man to ever exist. And these young kids, they're gonna come in the fucking army, the Air Force, whatever, they're gonna swing their big cocks, but he's gonna be like, no, I'm better than you, and I'm gonna prove it every day. I've got to train you to do this mission, but actually I'm gonna do the mission, because I'm the better one to do it. So, I'll just do it. You can come along too, but I'll be the main one, because I am the best one. And then, one of you, I'm not gonna let any of you die at all. None of you are gonna die. One of you will almost die, but I will heroically sacrifice myself. But then I'll survive that too, because I am Tom Cruise, the greatest human being possible.
Yeah. Right. For those of you that came here to enjoy a hearty conversation about Top Gun Maverick, I'm going to swing back round to it. I enjoyed the movie, so I will be listing some good points if you're still here to hear them. Firstly, yeah, you're not wrong at all.
Not wrong.
So the thing, I do think the movie is a lot more than that when it boils down to it, but the clear Tom Cruise of it all is evident. It's evident in, like, you're absolutely right. He does have his hands in everything he's involved in. Like, he just needs, he'll go over there, he'll be over the shoulder, he'll be rubbing Christopher McQuarrie's shoulders as he's penning a script. He'll be agreeing different lines on the day. Like, I agree that everything's mapped out and planned, but there's no way shit gets past him, and if he doesn't want to do it, he doesn't do cash-ins anymore. The man is a fucking billionaire, right? He doesn't need to do any of this.
What he says goes on.
Yeah,
like he has final say on everything.
We said it again in the Fallout thing, but he's the Vin Diesel of the Fast and Furious franchise. He is this, but for every movie. Tom Cruise now exists in a different level of movie star where what he says goes, to the point where if he doesn't like the director, if the director looks at him funny, out the window he goes. So yeah, one of my big things about this movie, and also Fallout as well, is Tom Cruise has a raging rock on to be seen as the only 60-year-old man capable of death-defying feats that men half his age are not capable of. And he can do them on a whim, in an afternoon. It's an easy Sunday for him. In Fallout, he's the man that could never settle down and be with the love of his life because the world needed him specifically. And in this, it's the pilot that the Navy can't get rid of because he's the only man that they're going to dust off every 30 years for a big mission. He is the only one capable of. I completely agree. This is Tom Cruise propaganda, 100%. But it's a good movie.
Is it?
I think so.
I don't.
Right.
I think it's entertaining in a few sequences, but I don't think that makes a good movie.
What? All right, you loved Fallout. We both did. We had a big, lengthy discussion about it. And in that movie, you were a lot more willing to accept the Tom Cruise of it all. So why?
Because I think that was a lot less in your face. Ethan Hunt actually does have flaws. Ethan Hunt isn't the world's greatest man. Sure, he's still like Dyer, the world's greatest man. It's still pretty much there. It's not as egregious and in your face as this.
Yeah. He was like, also, how much can I get away with in Fallout? And then in Top Gun Maverick, he was like, all right, now I am the world's greatest man. Yeah, exactly. These probably would have been filmed around similar times, come to think of it, because this was delayed for fucking years. This was like supposed to be released just before COVID, and then they held it off for like 2. This film was like ready and in the vault for 2 years.
Well, Fallout came out in 2018.
Corona 2020.
Yeah, this probably would have been filmed in, 2019?
Yeah, thereabouts. He probably would have wrapped Fallout and gone straight onto this.
Well, I think Fallout would have been out. But then he'd have probably done like fucking, I don't know, 7 years of military training or some shit, so fucking...
Fun, just before you move on from it, because I definitely want to still go over the Tom Cruise propaganda of it all. It's really funny. I watched a few cast interviews, and everyone does the rounds of both the Jimmys, some James Corden. They all do that. It's really funny because there is not a mention of the actual director. It's all just, Tom loves to do things like this. When Tom was on set and he, apparently Tom, there's the beach football scene. Apparently they all got obviously super fit for all the shirtless stuff. And then they just carb loaded after it. And then Tom was like, the lighting wasn't perfect. Everyone get back to the gym. We're going again tomorrow. And they were all mid-beer, so they all just had to run back to the gym because they just bloated themselves out.
Where the fuck was he for the rest of the movie? The lighting in this movie is shit.
No.
Fuck off. You couldn't even see characters' faces half the time.
What? When?
I took a picture. I can show you when.
Right. Before we go any further, I knew you'd want to hate this, so I know that this is coming.
I knew this would come up. I fucking said this would come up.
I know
earlier.
you did.
I can't have legitimate criticisms because I just didn't want to like it, apparently.
What's this?
That's just one example, okay?
Right.
There was plenty of time. That's the one where I thought, fuck this, I'm taking a picture. Because it had came up so many times before.
Right.
But there are so many times where characters are just silhouettes instead of actually lit. You can't see what's going in their faces.
That's cinematic to a degree.
It's a scene where 4 dudes, not even that, 3 dudes are talking in an office.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be fucking epic and glorious and big silhouettes all the time. It's a scene. Just light it.
I would argue they did light it. You're just not a fan.
They didn't. I can't see the fucking actors. Talking about lighting is a big thing at the moment, especially with the latest episode of House of the Dragon, because you can't see shit. You can't fucking see anything that's going on.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. Just light it. Just fucking hell. Why is it difficult, or why is it such a anti-artistic choice to just light a scene.
No, I agree with you, but I think there's a difference between that and House of the Dragon, because House of the Dragon is, though I don't understand fully the techniques of lighting, and I never would claim to, because it's fucking a lot harder than I imagine just setting up a few fucking softboxes around the beach or whatever. That is stupid. I can't in House of the Dragon I can't see shit. Right, you're absolutely right. You can't tell what the fuck's going on, especially when it's pivotal scenes. That is a choice in Top Gun Maverick, because I saw this in IMAX.
Shit choice. A shit choice.
I saw this in IMAX. It was fine. Did not have a single problem with it. Could tell what was going on.
If your movie is formatted in a way that it only works for IMAX and not the home viewing experience, then that is elitist and shit. I'm sorry, but it is.
But I didn't say... Right, I'm just saying that my opinion of it is I didn't think that any scenes were necessarily too dark where I couldn't tell what was going on. On both, because I've watched this at home and in the cinema.
Well, I did.
That's fine. I'm not telling you you're wrong. I've seen the picture you sent me. It is dark. But I don't know. I just didn't have that. It didn't cross my mind. I didn't have that experience.
There's also a weird yellow filter over most of the movie as well. It's like when they go to Mexico in Breaking Bad or something, and there's just that weird yellow filter for no reason. It's like there's that one scene, I think, in the original Top Gun where he's on the motorbike at sunset. And it's kind of iconic, and they went, "Oh, let's do that, but the whole fucking movie.
Yeah,
let's do the whole movie at sunset."
But that's just a choice, you know, like fucking
a shit choice.
No, but
because it looks shit.
It doesn't look shit though, does it? Let's be honest. Don't like it.
It's subjective, and to me, my opinion is that it looks shit. I don't think it's a good choice.
Oh, we're 20 minutes in. This is hard already.
I don't like it. I don't think it's a good choice. It looks like shit.
Fine. All right. I don't. You're absolutely right about, you know, like you go to Mexico and Breaking Bad. It is yellow. It is just a yellow thing. It's almost like they've added the block color yellow and then just turned it down a little bit so that you can see what the camera actually shot.
Yeah.
This is filmed in a way that is supposed to be that choice. They haven't filmed it all and then just slapped a yellow on it.
It seems like they have. It really does seem like that way.
Okay. I'll tell you what, at risk of getting my head bitten off, is there anything you liked about it?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, like I say, I did like the sequences where they're actually up in the jets and stuff.
Yeah.
It's fun as much as, again, it's Tom Cruise propaganda to the max, because it's like, oh, here we go. I get to fly a jet and be cool.
Yeah.
It's still fun. It's fun sequences. Seeing them actually fly around, do the dogfighting and stuff, and especially that sequence where they actually do the mission at the end. It's very tense and that sort of stuff. So yeah, I did like that.
All right, what do you think of the Tom Cruise of it all, in the sense that those, you know, as standard with a Tom Cruise thing, these were filmed in, you know, real jets, the actors went up there. Are you, like, we spoke about Fallout and in terms of like doing things practically, like with the Halo jump and stuff that I think other studios or just other movies in general, I suppose, aren't really putting that level of time in. Did it pay off for you? Do you think it was necessarily better than what you'd have got if it wasn't practically done?
It's difficult to say without like having something to compare it to, really.
I guess so, yeah.
Because I don't know what I would have got if it was filmed another way. So difficult to say if it was worth it. What I will say is that it looks good.
Yeah.
Can't deny that. It looks good. The fact that they are actually, obviously someone else is flying, but the fact that they are actually in the jets.
that's too far for Tom Cruise. Everyone become a fucking fighter pilot in 6 months, please.
I think it's illegal. I think you actually have to be like a member of the Air Force to fly one of those things.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you do.
Like
I mean,
that.
look at the planes.
Yeah.
They're not going to let Jim from down the road fucking get in it for a bit of a banter, are they?
There is no one should let Miles Teller fucking anywhere near the controls of a fucking jet engine. So,
no, you've seen his moustache. I think he could pull it off.
Absolutely not.
A man who wears a moustache like that is an aviator at heart. I believe he could pull it off. All right, I see what you're saying about it being like, you know, you can't really compare it to anything. One thing I did think was it allows for taking one of those jets up, I can imagine, is fucking expensive because they're not just giving them out. It's difficult to say whether it would have been as expensive to digitally render every single shot in almost the second half of the movie. Like 3/4 of the movie, they're up in the air.
I doubt it would have been that expensive.
No, maybe not. And I suppose once you've got the models, you've got them ready to go. But I do think
it's really just a background, isn't it?
Photorealistic background is difficult, especially to the standard that they would have wanted it. I do think you get the freedom that you can have the actors up in there, but you also get like freedom of angles. Like they had like 30 cameras just slapped anywhere around these jets. So like every jet would have one on like the front and the back, like couple on the wings. So you just get basically it'd be an editor's dream. You've got an angle from every fucking feasible option.
Like, why did they use the same one all the time then?
No, right, there's only one in the there's one in the cockpit, Nathan, because it's a fucking cockpit, right? would you want an IMAX fucking loaded in just fucking whoever
well, you
shot
said
this,
you said there's 30 cameras. To me it seems like there was one there and that was it.
Just in front of their face. Right, in the cockpit, but I mean, like, you know, the other aerial angles come from other planes being flown. So, like, when you're seeing one dead on, it's because another one is flying in front of it.
Yeah,
like,
I get that.
So that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, obviously you're right, in the cockpit, it's just one on their face. No, I think there's one on their face and another one on their side. So they can get the odd turn to the left shot, basically.
The very odd turn to the left shot.
That's fair, it's fair. I'll tell you what, in the spirit of you being critical, I will join you in a criticism, and then I think we can talk maybe about the actual story of it all. Okay.
I'll throw in another criticism after this one.
Oh, God, alright, good. I'm glad, just in case we were evenly weighting it, just in case we just accidentally said 5 minutes of good things about it. Jennifer Connelly is in this movie. I don't care what anyone says her grand purpose is. She's there to tell Tom Cruise what to do with Miles Teller. She's there to be like Tom Cruise's emotional support and guidance, because Tom Cruise does so much in the plane stuff, and if he's not talking to Iceman, if he's not talking to her, then he's really not doing anything other than flying. So she's kind of just there to be that support. I just don't think this. I think the love B plot of this movie is kind of just a bit weird. Like, it kind of infers that there's something beyond flying, and he's settling down to be like a family man, but he doesn't need to be.
So she's there because in his quest to be the greatest human being physically possible, he needs to also have a very beautiful love interest, but also which comes from a broken home with kids that, you know, of a previous deadbeat dad, so he can then take on those kids and be the best dad ever. I
don't think he's going to take on the kids. The kids, no, like,
he's going to take on the kids, even though they're grown up, and he's going to be the best dad to them ever, even though they're not his own. Thus, further proving that he is the greatest man ever.
I think you're right, but I think you've got the kid wrong. I think he tries to be the absent. I mean, Goose isn't fucking absent; he's dead. But like, he tries to be that father figure to Rooster to the point where he's overbearing. I don't know. I didn't see it like that. I did see it as pointless. But I take your point in terms of, like, yeah, the other dad is not there, but Tom Cruise is there.
Who is the graphic designer for the Air Force and their little band names on their helmets? Who's doing that?
There's someone.
What are they doing?
That's a thing. That's a thing.
Is that a real thing?
That is a thing.
No, those names look too professionally designed.
They probably are.
I feel like it'd probably be like, you know, you get like a piece of like yellow tape and a fucking Sharpie. I feel like that's what it would be in real life, not this like fucking properly, professionally, graphically designed fucking logo that they've essentially got from the fucking Marvel's marketing department somehow.
It is a little bit like when Marvel roll out a new slate and you've got the graphic
and then
designs.
Kevin Feige puts on the new hat. That's literally what it is.
He puts on
They've got Kevin Feige's hat guy to do their fucking helmets.
No, I know what you mean, but like, there's 2 points I have to that. One, it's not unlike the US military to waste money on fucking unnecessary things.
That is true.
And 2, it's a movie. It looks more interesting. Also, when they're up.
I didn't realize we could just forgive any criticism with
No.
a movie.
Right, no. But saying who does their helmets is a ding. It's a cinema sins, and you know it is. You're being pedantic. There are criticisms with this movie that I have taken on board that are relevant. A design in a movie? Oh, who's bloody designing fucking, I don't know, someone else's costume? A superhero movie's costume. Who's designing that?
Superhero Taylor.
Well done. Right, well, fucking, I'm sorry that Edna Mode didn't show up in this fucking thing, right? Slap Tom Cruise around with a paper roll-up or whatever. That's a ding. That's a big fat ding, and you know it is.
It's a ding, but
another ding under your belt. Any criticism for this movie you have.
Was that wrong though?
I don't think you're necessarily wrong. Yeah, they might not have it designed to that intent, but who the fuck cares? It's a film.
I'm not saying I care. I'm just saying.
You care enough to have brought it up on a podcast, Nathan.
All right, I'll forget it then. Can't speak ill of the holy Top Gun Maverick.
For fuck's sake. I do like this movie, and yeah, all right, I think it's good. I think it's very cool, but I like it just as much as you're not liking it. I like it, but I think you're putting as much energy into disliking it.
I don't want to dislike a movie. I don't.
All right, go on.
I don't. I genuinely don't. I would have loved to have had a great time with this. I just didn't. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Kenny Loggins was something I was looking forward to, because I actually do like that song.
Yeah.
Fucking Highway to the Danger Zone. It's a great song. Mm-hmm. Wasted it. But absolutely just squandered it. All they were doing was they were showing some footage of some... No actual characters, just footage of some jets taking off and landing, which was already happening. But then they just started the music to show us the exact same thing they'd already been showing us for the past 30 seconds. Great. Lovely stuff.
I think when you've gone out, you filmed real F-18s taking off from a fucking like carrier in the sea. It's visually impressive, and I think it's nice to picture this. You're a dad. Right, you remember the 80s fondly. Top Gun was one of your great movies that you loved to see when you were growing up. You go back to this, let's say you see it in a cinema. You've got the big screen experience. You have those speakers blaring Kenny Loggins. It's all going well, and it's cool. It gears you back up for the movie. It's a good little introduction, and yeah, it doesn't have characters in it because you're not just going to suddenly meet the character out of the gate in a little pre-title sequence. Like the title for the movie hasn't even come up yet. It's just a nice way of introing it and being like, this is the movie. It's jets taking off. That's what it does.
Picture this. Okay, you're a dad. You're going to the cinema. You're watching Top Gun Maverick, the sequel to a movie that you loved, Top Gun, in the 80s. You're excited to see Tom Cruise be the greatest man possible once again. The movie opens up with, I don't know, literally anything else. And then the credits roll, whatever. There's a different title sequence. Who cares? Someone else can figure that out. And then you see Tom Cruise in a jet. Well, actually, you hear that as a jet comes into view and you see Tom Cruise. I would argue that would get someone more hyped up than seeing just a jet take off and land.
All right. But then
because then they can relate to characters they know as well, instead of just a jet.
All right.
And sure, this is a dumb criticism, because this is just me criticizing something that didn't happen. Mm-hmm. So it's pointless at the end of the day. But I just think that if you're going to bring back the nostalgia for Kevin, which this movie relies on a lot, which was weird because I haven't even seen Top Gun, but it clearly relies on nostalgia a lot. If you're going to rely on that, at least put it to something that will bring up that nostalgia instead of just jets. Because why do I care? I don't care about jets.
I would argue someone maybe going to watch Top Gun Maverick might be somewhat interested in jets because it's the whole thing.
Are they interested in jets, or are they interested in the characters and the story around
this
the
movie
jets?
has no shortage of characters flying jets, right?
Yeah.
It's a title sequence. You're right. I think this is a dumb criticism in the sense that You're saying it would be better if they did anything else.
Wouldn't it be? That's all I'm saying.
All you're saying is, I'm just right. In a parallel world, if you love this and I hated it and I just come out with that, you would have ripped me to shreds.
Why would I?
Because it's a nothing criticism. You're like I said, you're saying...
I said that myself. I'm agreeing with you there. I'm just saying, personally, I think it would be more interesting. Personally, not even that. Personally, I just think they wasted the Kenny Loggins song. That's it.
Fine.
Great.
I'm genuine. I don't know where to go because I can't say anything.
Well, just go on your notes. What else you got? Don't be scared.
I'm not scared. I'm not.
I was going to say, you said you wanted to get into the story, didn't you?
All right, yeah, let's get into the story of it. Right, so basically, Tom Cruise...
Greatest man alive.
Tom Cruise, greatest man alive, proven by the fact that he becomes the fastest man on the planet in the first 10 minutes of the movie.
Oh, no, never mind. Go on.
I like the sequence. I think it's good. Yes, he reminds me of Buzz Lightyear.
You're familiar with Chekhov's gun?
Yes, yeah. That's where you introduce something, you think it's going to show up, it never shows up. Or just it's the carrot on the stick in terms of, like, you think it's going to show up the whole thing.
Chekhov's gun, for those who are unfamiliar, is if in Act 1 there's a gun that's introduced or is just even present, then by Act 3, that gun, well, by the end of the play or whatever, that gun is going to go off.
Yeah.
That's what you would assume Chekhov's gun was. I think that jet was Chekhov's gun for me. Because they have this, like, brand new, super cool jet which the military is going to shut down because it's too cool or whatever. But Tom Cruise is testing it, and he's great at testing it because he's the greatest man ever. And they needed to get to 10 Gs to prove that it's worthwhile so the government or fucking Ed Harris can't shut it down or whatever.
Yeah.
So Tom Cruise, he sneaks out and he does the big test, and they get it to 10 Gs, and they do it, and everything's great. But then it just never comes up again. Because I thought it was going to somehow come back at the end, like he was going to do the mission in that jet.
Mate, you just go straight into the mountain.
Well, they needed speed.
Yeah, no. I see what you're saying. I think I agree with you, and I disagree. I think the reason I agree is because you're right. They do introduce a super cool new jet. It does seem like the setup of the premise of the whole thing, and then it seems like it's just brushed under the carpet. But
it is. I will say it was kind of funny just seeing him turn up at that diner. And then everyone's just like staring at him. Like,
it's great. The great line of "Where am I?" and the kid goes, "Earth." Yeah, it's very good. Yeah, no, I like that. But the reason I would disagree with that point, I agree that physically, yes, the jet is just gone from the movie, and it is a bit abrupt, and it's a bit of a okay, that's not the central focus of this plot or whatever. But it does introduce the kind of the main theme of the movie, which is you have to remember everything I'm about to say. I know that it is Tom Cruise porn, so just cast that out of your mind. I'm aware. I've acknowledged it. This movie, one of the main things is, can something be done? Is something within the confines of human capability? And Tom Cruise proves in the first 10 minutes that Ed Harris, who's coming there to shut the program down, who's kind of gone back on his word. He's there to be like, nope, humans bad, drones better, more expensive, waste of money, but better, and can do mission also. Tom Cruise then takes it upon himself to prove that, despite doubts cast his way, humans are capable of doing things, and it does always come down to the pilot in the box. It comes down to the fact that he is capable of achieving such feats. That's the whole central theme of the movie. So it's introduced in the first scene. Do you see what I'm saying?
I do. Yeah, I do.
I just think I agree in terms of physically the jet's gone, right? And it feels weird because it's just abruptly gone, and you think it's going to be the plot of the film, but it's not. And for the uninitiated, there's maybe if there's a fighter pilot listening to this laughing at us about the prospect of can you use a fucking super speed jet or whatever to do this mission.
I mean, are they all super speed jets?
Well,
they're all
not the.
Well, fucking these jets that they're flying, they get up to 9 Gs. That one barely gets up to 10 Gs.
No, it's not 10 Gs.
What's the difference, really?
It's not 10 Gs. Gs is the force that your body is being pulled at. It's Mach 10 is what they say. I don't know what that fucking means, but it's a different thing. It's not. That can't be a scale of measurement for the whole film because it's not the same thing.
Well, I don't know.
Look, nor do I. I'm not a pilot.
I'm no pilot. I'll make no apologies for that.
Right, look, anyway, story-wise, Tom Cruise keeps denying promotions. He wants to be a captain because he knows that if they make him a fucking million-star admiral, like, you know, Tom Cruise definitely deserves because it's Tom Cruise and he's the best man alive, then he'd be grounded. He wouldn't be able to fly anymore, and he doesn't want to be a kind of, you know, a pencil pusher. He wants to be a pilot. That's what he loves doing. Despite the fact that I'm sure there's regulations about fighter pilots being 60 years old. I'm sure there is. But he doesn't look 60 to his credit.
He's the greatest man alive.
No, exactly. But look, right, that is real. He doesn't look 60. He looks very good for 60.
He does.
You can't hide that behind, like...
It's that fucking Scientology rituals where he just steals someone's youth.
Yeah,
whatever that he does.
Don't get me wrong. The blood of virgins has done that man very well. Yeah. No, so he breaks some rules. He gets shipped off, but he's got a few friends. He's got Iceman, who is in the... Val Kilmer, who is in the previous film as his main homeboy. I think they're wingmen or whatever, partners. I don't know how the fucking Navy works. He ships him off to teach the Top Gun recruits. So these there's maybe 10 or so, only 5 with real personalities, only 3 that the movie wants you to give a shit about. They're kind of wheeled in. They have to do this mission. Now, they've all got jumped up egos. They're stealth bombers that have never really had a dogfight. There's a plot point where only one of them has actually ever shot down a thing, and that's remarked as being like just an old piece of shit that anyone could have beat on a good day. So Tom Cruise comes in. He has like a week or so to teach them how to pull off one of the most difficult missions on the planet. So they've wheeled in the best pilots, but they've never faced anything quite like this. And Tom Cruise is their man to go to. Is it possible? He goes, "Yep, I'll teach them." So the whole movie is about them, like, kind of realizing that, you know, they can do things. Tom Cruise, yeah, there's a few occasions where Tom Cruise does go, "You can't do it." Then he does it, and then they go, "I guess I can do it too." And that's kind of the movie. There's a lot of I think there's a lot of heart in it. I like the Rooster stuff. I like all the Miles Teller and Tom Cruise back and forth. I think it's an interesting point for him to be playing Goose's son, because I know you haven't seen the first Top Gun, neither have I, but the thread known is that one of the main talking points was that Maverick's carelessness was to blame for Goose dying, even though he was never officially charged with anything and he was cleared of guilt. It's wrecked him that, you know, different choices could have been made and Goose wouldn't be dead. So I like the overbearing nature he has with Rooster. I like that he literally grounds him to the degree of, like, he holds his career back years just by being like, "I don't want that kid to fly," because of a promise he made to Meg Ryan, who I guess didn't get a phone call back in this. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's got a lot of heart. I like the story. I think the story is equal to the spectacle that is the jets flying, that we've both said looks good.
There's nothing about it which fucking stands out as amazing to me, okay? Mm-hmm. And it doesn't have to be. There's no part of this which has to be amazing. But it's fine. Like, yeah, it's nothing offensive. It's nothing groundbreaking either. It's just a very pretty standard story, to be honest. It's very middle of the road. Some of it kind of, again, seems very manufactured, particularly like the fucking whole rift between Miles Teller and Tom Cruise and all that sort of stuff. It just seems very, I'm the greatest man in the world again, and again, my one character flaw is that I care too much, so I stopped this guy from doing what he needs to do. Because once again, like, I made a promise to his dead parents, and I can't let him for a second think anything bad about his dead parents, so I'll take the fall, because I'm the greatest person in the world. I
know what you're saying, but do you not think that there's like an element of guilt there? Like, it's the character flaw that, yeah, he perceives himself too highly, knows that he's capable of letting go of his instincts and just relying on his instincts and letting go of logic, whereas Rooster has been taught to.
Maybe there would have been if I'd watched Top Gun. I don't know. Maybe I'd feel different if I had seen Top Gun and knew more about the Maverick and Is it Iceman? No, Iceman's Val Kilmer.
Yeah, Goose is the wingman.
Yeah, Maverick and Goose relationship or whatever. I don't know. Maybe I'd care more about it. I just don't.
Well, I never watched the first Top Gun, but I don't think it's.
Yeah, but you worship this movie, though.
No, I don't worship it. I just don't think it's. I don't necessarily agree that that's manufactured. Hang on a minute. I don't worship Tom Cruise.
Okay.
Fuck off. I don't think it's necessarily manufactured, but then also you could argue that on the flip side of it, every movie's plot is manufactured. It's a writer writing things.
Fucking hell. Okay. Yeah. No. Fair point.
But right. All right. What do you disagree with there?
It's like the fourth time to any criticism I've said, you could say, well, you could say that about any movie that it's fucking manufactured. Like, okay, I'm not insulting you personally, Lawrence.
I know this.
Like, it doesn't seem like you do. Fucking hell.
I look. My point being, I don't know. I just don't necessarily see it as manufactured. I think it's clearly again. I haven't seen Top Gun, but it's clearly jumped off of the guilt he would have been feeling for the through line of Top Gun 1 being.
But I don't know that guilt. That's my issue. I'm saying I don't know that guilt, and maybe I probably should have watched Top Gun, but still think as a movie it should be able to stand alone.
Yeah,
and should be able to pick up on that.
Yeah, especially one that was released like 30 years later. I do agree.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. For me, it just I don't know. It just wasn't there. I just didn't buy it.
Fair enough. I know what you're saying. I think to lean heavily on a sequel that came out 30 years ago or whatever, it was around 30 years ago. I guess I don't know the exact time.
They keep saying 30 years in the movie, so
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it was 30 years in real life, and from like audience perception, if you're relying on that, it's maybe not the safest bet because a lot of the people going out to see this weren't alive when Top Gun 1 came out, and if they hadn't seen it.
Top Gun came out in '86, so that's 36 years.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, to rely on it as heavily as the movie does to a degree, yeah, it could be a mistake. But I also think that in terms of just a sequel jumping on point, you get the broad strokes enough for the emotional moments to still kind of hit to a degree. But if it didn't land for you, that's fine. But like, I don't know, can you... I see what you're saying about the story being kind of a tried and tested trope. It is nothing groundbreaking. I think the ticket of this movie is the up in the air stuff. Right,
there's no grand twist or final reveal or anything like that. It is very by the numbers. There's a mission we got to do. We're going to train to do that mission. We do the mission. Something goes wrong. Let's adapt.
Yeah.
And now, Tom Cruise, the greatest man in the world, has saved the world. So.
You really don't like Tom Cruise in this, do you?
I don't know, because he wants so hard for me to like him, and that's why I don't.
Yeah.
Because he wants everyone to love him, and because he is the greatest man in the world. And he was just so annoying from start to finish.
But I see where you're coming from, and it can be a bugbearer because Tom Cruise isn't, like, he's not capable of any of these things. They are stunts, but then, I don't know, he's an actor playing a character. I just think sometimes his characters could do with a bit more grounding, a bit more relatable flaws, and that there are present, like you said. Ethan Hunt has flaws. I think that Maverick has flaws, but it's just in terms of his practical capability. He's seen to be the sharpest pilot.
What do you think Maverick's flaws are? Because I could not pick up on a single one, other than I care too much.
I think he comes across as very overbearing, and before you say that's just an element of him caring too much and being too nice of a guy, I think it comes across more as he's deliberately jeopardized people for the pursuit of his greatness. Or
when has he done that?
Basically, any higher ranking officer in the Navy, he undermines them because he knows that he's better than them.
Yeah, because he's in the right, and he's Tom Cruise, the greatest man in the world.
But I don't think he necessarily is in the right, because, you know, he still operates within the confines of what the Navy say he can do. He's not just a wild man with an F-18 that he wants to fly about. He's still...
I disagree. I think that this movie very much presents him as he's in the right. John Hamm and all the fuzzy naval officers, they're all there with their arms crossed, like, oh, that Tom Cruise, he's bloody, I don't know, he's too cool for the Air Force, and he's doing everything too cool, and this is not how things are done in the Air Force, or whatever. And he's very much as, yeah, he's gonna disobey them, but it's cool because he's cool and he's doing the right thing.
I guess there is a conversation to be had, and that's kind of an interesting point, because the perceived character flaws that I think people that aren't washed up in Tom Cruise propaganda will identify, like I've just said. But then you're right in terms of there is a framing element where the movie chooses to focus on that not being a character flaw of Tom Cruise, that being a of Maverick. That's not a character flaw.
Be the same.
Yeah, it's if anything, I prefer Maverick as a person. Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's more of a framing thing because the perceived faults are definitely framed as the right thing to be doing. He should be ignoring these pencil pushers because they don't know what they're talking about, but Maverick does. I do think that was the first one I said, but the other one, and I do think the movie frames this as a negative. He is too overbearing on Rooster because of feelings of guilt. It's not care and it's not love. It's harboring feelings of guilt. That's why I say it's not an overbearing love and want and desire to protect. It's I quote unquote maybe killed your dad. I'm not playing a part in teaching you, not for his dad, but because he can't fucking get over it. He still goes up and, before he's even met up with Rooster again, the first thing he says in the jet is "Talk to me, Goose," because he's there, like, he still has a deep connection to this man and feels a clear sense of guilt. And I think that, Rooster hates him at the start of this movie because he's held him back, and at every turn he's pushed him away from achieving his own greatness and not allowing him to make his own decisions, which I think is definitely a character flaw.
Again, I would just argue that's him caring too much,
but it's not. But I don't think it is. I see where you're.
But why is he doing all that? Why is he doing all that?
It's for himself. It's not for Rooster. It's not caring for Rooster. It's feelings of guilt and not wanting to be the cause of another death.
Because he cares.
No, but But then he cares about other people, but he doesn't give a shit about them doing dangerous things.
Yeah, but they're not his mate's kid.
But where does that come from? Where does that closeness come? Because he's not been the father.
But again though, I didn't pick up on the guilt, so.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it's something we disagree on, but I know what you're saying in terms of
he literally sacrificed himself for him again. Or tried to anyway.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
You can't kill Tom Cruise, the greatest man in life.
No, not a. I don't even know if it is, but it's the only helicopter I know. An Apache war helicopter with turrets can't kill Tom Cruise, defenseless and attached to a parachute.
No. Not a chance.
It's fine. So you don't think this is military propaganda then?
I mean, it is.
I mean, yeah, the very nature of a Top Gun movie is that, but...
Of course it is. It 100% is. Any movie that features the military is, by definition, military propaganda. But not to the extent that I thought it would be, really.
Okay, fair enough, yeah.
But it is.
I think if you watch this, yeah, and you obviously it's fiction, well, whatever. The US military is known for just committing horrific acts. Right? They're not a military that people fondly think of.
There is a reason the military-industrial entertainment complex exists, people. It is to sweep those atrocities under the rug.
And also recruit people to commit those atrocities further down the line.
Yes, there you go.
I do think within the confines of the movie, they're not focused on, because obviously they don't need to be. It's way less of a join the Navy, kids, than the original Top Gun was taken as. There is that. I can't remember the exact numbers, but there's that famous statistic that, like, the weekend after Top Gun's initial release, the Navy saw like a record-breaking number of recruits, which I don't think would happen in this. Maybe just the day and age of it, but there's also the movie doesn't serve that that function. It's far more concerned about holding something else on a pedestal, as we've discussed in length. What do you? Something I kind of noticed about this that I think is quite interesting. The movie doesn't have a villain.
Well, it has the enemy.
It has the nondescript enemy,
and it has John Hamm.
I wouldn't call John Hamm a villain. I think he's there to basically just be a minor inconvenience. He's not the villain of the piece.
No, he's not.
And that's because there isn't a villain in the piece. Do you think that kind of structure works? Like, did you even notice it? Was it something that
I noticed it. I 100% noticed it. I noticed. I already knew this going in, but the whole quote unquote the enemy is very noticeable and weird.
No flags, no logos.
Just say fucking Russia. Like, what's the worst that can happen?
I mean, the worst that could happen in the movie's eyes is whatever nation they banned. Whatever nation that they claimed was the enemy pilot will affect the release of the movie in that country.
Well, then just say it's like a rogue nation or whatever. Who fucking cares? Just say it's like fucking break-offs from this terrorist group or whatever.
Yeah. If you
But
were
just
if you were
the
clever,
enemy.
yeah. If they were clever enough about it, again, I don't think the movie necessarily. I don't think it's faulted for it because I think the movie is way more about the act of the mission rather than stopping the cause. Like, we're just told these people have uranium.
Yeah.
We're not told they're going to do anything with it. We're not told they're currently on course for doing anything horrific. Like I said, we don't even know who the fuck they are. The plot of the movie, or the climactic crux of the movie is basically, is this mission possible? Pun intended, I guess. Is it feasible? Can it be done? And can the time limits that it needs to be done in be achieved? And can also Tom Cruise train them quick enough for it to be done? And the movie has
the mission is not possible. No, it cannot be done quick enough unless you are Tom Cruise, the greatest man ever.
In which case, he can shave 15 seconds off of it and then do it with his eyes shut.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but again, I don't think. I do think if they were clever enough, they could have maybe just got around it by saying, "Yeah, rogue nation." But if you're smart enough with your dialogue, you don't even need to say what country they're from. You just need to.
They didn't hear, and it was very noticeable.
Yeah, no, but like I'm saying, they could have just kind of maybe. I don't know.
Just say a terrorist group.
Yeah.
Or just create a terrorist group. Just say like fucking, I don't know, the Splinter Cells or whatever.
As Hollywood do, just type in find a word from a religious book.
Yeah.
As Hollywood often do, and then just
the acolytes.
Yeah.
Whatever.
and then it's done.
There it is. Well done.
Yeah.
We fixed it.
All right. I mean, I'm going to wrap it up if you're done with your points.
Oh, I was done about 10 minutes ago. One last thing. It does look cool, but it was always very jarring when it would go back to widescreen format after being in IMAX.
Yeah, I know.
And just the black bars would just pop back up out of nowhere. And it was very, okay.
Yeah, and there's some scenes where like it kind of has no rhyme or rhythm to it. Like I'm not a filmmaker. I don't understand when things need to be shot. But there are some, like, even to the point where like one shot in a dialogue sequence would be filmed in IMAX format, and the other one.
It seemed to be like anything in the jets, the planes was always.
Oh, that was all. But that was always gonna be IMAX.
But then you got like that. But then you got them talking to the guys on the ground, which is just film standard. So it's going from that to that to that, and it's just very.
Yeah, it's backwards and forwards a bit,
rough.
Especially when the movie is cutting between those sequences, in a specific scene. But yeah, no. Ultimately, I think it's a good movie. I think it's tense. I think it's enjoyable in terms of the through line. I think is consistent enough for you to get on board with the mission. And I liked. Oh, one thing I'll quickly ask you, I guess. I think the movie has taken to calling them young guns. What do you think of all the young guys, other than Miles Teller, who we've kind of already touched on?
Mostly forgettable. Why was Bob called Bob?
I guess just a thing. It was for a trailer joke, wasn't it? It was just for a trailer joke.
But they said in the movie, you haven't told them what Bob actually stands for? And then it was just never brought up again.
Yeah, it was. They say Glenn Powell says baby on board.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, fair enough. I missed that then.
I mean, look, I don't know if that's actually legit. I think he might have just been ripping him. I guess he's just called Bob. Hangman is a standout. He's definitely the movie's... He's definitely
dickhead.
Yeah, he's the epitome of what these pilots are, which is egocentric wankers, basically. But I think that a lot of them start learning the lesson a lot faster than he does. Fun fact: he's in Spy Kids 3 as well, which is fun. He's also the banker that Bane chokes out in The Dark Knight Rises.
Who is he in Spy Kids 3?
I don't know. At first I thought it was the guy, but then that was Elijah Wood.
The guy was Elijah Wood, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. He's just in it. So I just looked on his IMDb thinking, this guy's talented. He should be in some more things because he's a very charismatic guy. Like, he pulls off... I think all the actors do a fine job. I think they're all doing really well.
He was the guy Bane chokes out?
Yeah, I don't think he was the one that's like, there's no money here. This is the stock. He wasn't that guy. But Bane definitely beats him up in the bank or the stock exchange.
That was like 10 years ago. How old is this guy?
He's like 30, I think. So he would have been, I guess, like early 20s. Ultimately, I thought it was good. Did you enjoy the return of One Republic? The band that everyone forgot existed after they released Counting Stars.
When did One Republic appear?
They did the beach football song. I ain't worried about it right now.
Not really.
It's a good song. I like the song. It's fun.
The Lady Gaga song's a good song, I'll say that.
That is a good song. I quite like it. I'm very happy that they didn't have... At first, I really thought the movie was gearing into the... Top Gun 1 has a very infamous, very long sex scene, which is just a lot of tongue, a lot of grossness, and it's kind of shot and framed very comically. And
Is it said to take my breath away?
I think it might be. Yeah.
I know that song features in Top Gun.
Yeah.
At some point.
And when the Lady Gaga song started playing and then that kind of scene was happening, I was like, please don't do it again. But luckily it was a bit more wholesome than that. Anyway, we are over time.
One last thing I will say.
Yeah, go on.
They let Tom Cruise be short.
They did. It's one thing.
Well, Tom Cruise let them show that he's short.
yeah.
That's the better way to put it.
He went, I'll allow it. I suppose there's enough of me being a hero in this movie. Short kings rejoice. One more humbling thing for Tom Cruise. He finally has a semi-age appropriate love interest. Normally he's kissing girls that are too young to be kissing him. They're not young women, but they're like 20 years younger than he is. So yeah, it's not like he's just like
40.
Yeah, they're like 40, but I know Tom Cruise doesn't look 60, but he is 60. All right, whether he wants to admit it or not. Do you think that in the next 10 years, you know how age catches up with some people? Some people just look great, and then maybe like there's a steep 5-year decline.
Yeah.
Do you think we're gonna get that with Tom Cruise?
I do. I think one day he'll show up and he'll look like, like King Viserys in like the latest episode of House of the Dragon.
Yeah,
he'll just look like that.
you know that kind of weird fish in SpongeBob that's in the wheelchair, like the very old lady.
Oh yeah,
that's what I feel like. One day they're gonna wheel Tom Cruise out, and the stunt is gonna be that he actually gets out of his wheelchair. And they've been like, wow, defying expectations as per usual.
I did not like this movie. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
I didn't like it.
I
know it's the greatest movie ever made, apparently, in your opinion. And I know Tom Cruise is the greatest human ever. But it was not for me.
That's fine.
Would not recommend, personally.
Fair enough.
You do you.
I liked it. That being said, I don't want to see another one. There doesn't need to be another one of these.
And I definitely don't.
Cool. All right. So at the start of the, if you're just tuning in, if you skip the beginning, what I like to do at the start of the podcast is ask Nathan a question, a hypothetical question, usually relating something to a degree of what we're talking about. So today we're talking about Top Gun Maverick. I asked Nathan, the time on target in Top Gun Maverick's central mission is 2 minutes and 30 seconds. They face immense G-force, they perform high-risk maneuvers, and against impossible odds, they hit a target which is barely 2 meters wide. Which is all very impressive stuff. What, Nathan, is the most impressive thing you've done or could do in 2.5 minutes?
Have sex to completion and then spend 2 minutes doing something else.
Fucks. So I see you've taken the Tom Cruise approach where you've shortened the necessary time for the deed of what needs to be done. So you've wiped 2 minutes off the clock. All right, what are you doing after? What are you doing after?
Watching TV.
Just two solid minutes of a good episode.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I'll go. Okay. I mean, I said keep it family friendly, but I suppose
I'll watch a few TikToks. There we go.
All right. Yeah. So you can consume some nice media after having sex to completion. Are we talking Is this a quickie? Is this cloves on at the third?
We don't need to discuss this.
I think we do. I think we're talking about a death-defying stunt here, Nathan.
I don't think we do.
I just want to know: are you talking from the word go, or do you need to get undressed first?
Either way,
oh,
it's achievable.
Either way, just depends on how much longer you decide to take.
Yeah,
fair enough. Thank you. If you've enjoyed this, come back for next week, I guess. So we've done Top Gun Maverick. You can give us a little review if you like. You can give us a 5-star review on whatever platform you're listening to this on. If it has a little review capability, that would be cool. You can give us a follow on Instagram, on TikTok, on Twitter. We're at Another Happy Pod, all one word there. And yeah. Oh, next week we're going to be doing this.
You need to back off.
And waste this outfit? Eugene, get out of here!
Go Super Sue! You're making a mistake.
You made a mistake when you messed with my client! Because now I'm gonna whoop your ass.
My ass remains unwhooped.
So we will be doing that. Cool, can't wait.
Great.
Do you want anyone to play us out this week?
No, we don't do that anymore. It's illegal.
I know it's illegal, but I can put like a 5 seconds in or so.
No, we're not with any more players.
Go on, dealer's choice. I don't mind.
No, I'm not breaking copyright law.
No, we won't be. But I'll do it under fair use. It's fine. I'll do 6 seconds maximum.
What's fair use?
It's like as much as you can use as something before it becomes claimed.
Put in Kenny Loggins, Highway to the Danger Zone, but only like the very last 6 seconds where it's already started to fade out. So then it's just totally incomprehensible.
Okay.
So just do that now. There we go.
There it is.
We all got a good kick out of that.
Brilliant. Okay, we'll see you next week. Thank you for listening.
Bye.